Okay, now we're going to mix the powder together. You can either just do the glue first and then mend it together, especially if you have a lot of seams that are more difficult. You may want to glue them first and go through and put the gold glue in later. However, you can also just mix it, especially since this is a test piece and you're practicing. It's a good spot to test. So you'll go ahead and pull this off the glue there. Make sure you're wearing both your gloves for safety. I'll try to keep the crinkles down here on the video. And you'll put just a little bit of glue, maybe the size, depending on how big your seam is, maybe the size of a dime or a quarter. And make sure it's going to give a little bit of a push. Oh, sometimes there might be a little air bubbles. That's okay. That's just part of the traveling and shipping process. Maybe about half this size to start with, because it will dry in about 5 minutes. But yeah, so about the size of a quarter to start, or if a little more comes out, it's okay. You have plenty of glue left to continue to practice with. And again, remember, pull these back so that the glue remains. Take some older cloth or whatnot that you don't care too much about. Go ahead and replace that glue cap safely, lining up the curved edges there. There we are. Use your gloves, please. Then go ahead and open this up, the gold powder. Now this sealed protection, this can definitely make a big poof of mess. So make sure you open it over a trash can or open it somewhere where if it poofs messy, it's okay. Very gently there. It's very light, fragile powder, or kind of floofy powder, so it will fly everywhere. It's a very, very light metallic powder. Now this is kind of like a for beginners test here, test piece practice. So just going to use a very little bit here. There's my wooden piece. There we go. You don't need much. It does make the glue quite gold. It's raining in the background here, so it's a little bit more humid, so it may take a little bit longer to cure than if it was somewhere more dry. Go ahead and tighten that back up so you don't accidentally knock it over and make a mess. Yes, speaking from experience. Then go ahead and just gently mix the glue together. Observe how the powder goes in with the liquid. Should be very relaxing. This will dry and harden, so make sure you use a paper plate or something that you don't care too much about that can just be thrown away here for that powder. You can see how the gold swirls in and makes a whole golden glue mixture together. This will be what beautifies the seam, what mends it, what turns this brokenness into beautiful. All right. Then what you'll do is take a piece for the mending here. Zoom this forward a little bit better. And just put just a slight bit on. You'll probably have it more broken into chunks or circles. You know, there's all sorts of different breaks. But you'll just do just a slight bit of glue because a little bit of it will squeeze out when you push the other piece in, and that's when it's going to make that beautiful gold seam. If you spill some, that's also okay. Part of the process is embracing your quote-unquote flaws, embracing your quote-unquote brokenness. You can see the little bit of spillage, which is why it's important to make sure you have the safety precautions in place. Healing can be messy, and that's okay. If you set up the paper ahead of time, that mess is welcome. It can make a huge difference. All about messy beauty, creativity here. You're improving it and making it better. I'll put a little bit extra here since I remembered that this one was missing some from the demo when I put it together. Clean it off here. Now if you're wanting to have a much more clean, you're going to want to grab these here before it dries off because it will start to dry. Probably a wet paper towel would do best here. You can see it's already starting to dry a little bit. This is for beginners, so this is kind of a test thing. Traditional kintsugi would take hours for this process and you would tape it all together, but we can still learn a lot and we can still mend. We can still practice our healing. in a very safe space here. Place it, line it up, let some of the gold come through. Trying to be gentle and not have too many fingerprints on that. Apologies for all the crinkles there and the sound. Just line that up, clean it up. Alright. Then what you can do is if you see different spaces that still have little bits of gaps that you want to add more to, you can add more to, especially if you want to have a thicker seam that has more gold to add some more beauty. You're welcome to do that as well. This is your art, this is your mending, this is your healing process. Be kind to yourself as you go through this process. You can see it does not take very much. And it's already starting to dry in place, which helps for those of us who are less practiced in this art. But you'll want to make sure you only do one at a time. Then we're going to leave that to dry, give it at least 24 hours without moving. I can set it here because it's already starting to cure a little bit, and I'll leave that be and come back and check it in the morning.